Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. It has been so long. I think it's been like 2 months at this point almost. By the time this goes up it'll probably be 2 months and I'm so sorry. School is crazy, as we all know. I have gotten so many direct messages and emails and so many things just like checking up on me, saying that you're excited for my future videos, but that you understand. You guys have been so understanding. So you guys are literally the best. I love you so much. So in this video, I decided that instead of making a bunch of individual videos, I'm literally just gonna do weeks 5 through week 12. So we got a lot to cover, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started right now. So I know that I said that I'm gonna start with week 5, but actually somehow I lost my week 5. For every week I print out these forms so that I can go over it and talk to you guys about it, because I really like to delete it off of my iPad, because I'm like, all right, that week is done. Bam, now I only got 4 pages left, or however many pages are left, you know? So I print them out and then I delete them. So we're just gonna start with week 6. I had a lecture. This was still before clinic started. We had a lecture on patient management and scheduling, and that is the day that we got our clinic schedule. Really overwhelming. We had 17 clinic sessions, 17 total for being an actual operator. Now there are actually more clinic sessions than that, but those are when I'm being clinic assistant, records assistant, or infection control assistant. So being an operator, 17, and then several other times we are still in clinic and I am some form of an assistant in the clinic. So then the next day we had another lecture in clinic on treatment planning and treatment record labs, so figuring out exactly how to do that. It was basically all of these lectures were prepping us to start clinic very soon. So I think clinic started 2 weeks after this. So the next day we had our oral hygiene instruction lab. This was not a good day for me. The night before I had major issues falling asleep, and we had like a long day. Like it was like a 7:30 to 5:30 day that day. My anxiety was really high and it was just not a good day for me. What we did is we went into the operatories and we had a partner and we practiced using the dentiform, which is a big fake mouth pretty much, and we practiced giving instructions on how to brush your teeth and all the different methods. We had to go over that, disclose, and look in each other's mouths and say why we were suggesting that method. We also practiced teaching how to floss, and then in the afternoon we had to stay there. Our bigs helped us set up our carts because we were gonna, start clinic. So we have carts that we keep like our prophy paste and our gloves and our mask and clipboard and hand mirror and pens and pencils and everything like that. So they were helping us like get organized for that. Then the next day we had a perio exam. I don't remember how I did on that. I've gotten like middle of the line, well, like low B's technically, like 84s. 84 is a very low B because the 83 is a C in our program. So we had that test. So I'm pretty sure I got somewhere around an 84. And then we had a lecture. So perio is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Obviously I'm not doing that well in that class, but I'm also not spending a massive amount of time studying for that class. I am not necessarily striving for A's, even though I always have in my life. I'm just trying to get by without losing my mind. That is my main goal. And we were in the clinic and we had radiology review and we basically just practiced. We also got taught how to use the pano that day, and we took bite wings on each other, and I'm pretty sure that's all that we did that day. So then the next week, week 7, we had our I Do What lecture, which is basically everything from start to finish of when you see a patient. It's our lecture on like the order in which we do things, the amount of paperwork that we have to do, and basically it was just reviewing all of that. The next day we had a patient with a mental disability or mental disorder lecture in Dental Hygiene 1 in the morning. I do enjoy that class because it is talking about those specific specialty patients that you'll be seeing in the future and even in the program, and just going over the specific requirements that those patients need. So it is pretty interesting to me. That afternoon we had perio lecture, which again I'm not going to go into super deep because it's really just a lot of repetitive information that we've already learned. To me, honestly, there's not a lot that's like brand new to me. Then the next day was our partner prophy lab. So my partner was operator in the morning and I was operator in the afternoon. We could do a couple of skill evals on each other, and I did all the ones that I could. I passed all of them. It just like generally went pretty good. I don't really remember how far I got because we had 2 sessions to finish each other, but I did do the whole mouth. I do remember that. The next day we had oral pathology in the afternoon on developmental disorders. Oral pathology is definitely the hardest class so far. Not doing so great in it, but I'm passing, and that's all that matters to me, honestly, because trying to start clinic and balance all these classes is honestly an adjustment, because you're going from just going to lecture all the time and like practicing in the clinic to having full-blown 12-hour clinic days and then having tests the next day. That's really an adjustment period of trying to figure out how to balance both of those. So oral pathology is definitely the hardest class by far to learn how to balance those 2 in. And the next day we had half day for partner prophy lab. I didn't go that day though, my partner went, so I basically just came in and was a patient all morning. The next week, week 8, is when clinic started. In the morning on Tuesday, I had the last half of my partner prophy lab. I finished my patient, and I was, you know, really nervous knowing that the next day we were gonna have to be there at like 7:20 in the morning and seeing our first patient, you know. That afternoon we had a lecture on dentifrices, which if you don't know, that's toothpaste, mouth rinses, and oral irrigation. And then the next day clinic started. So I actually find this kind of a blessing for me because I was CA in the morning. So it was kind of an adjustment to be like, instead of me just like jumping into the fire, I was like, okay, I'm helping everybody else out and seeing how it goes. And then in the afternoon, I had my first patient. It went pretty well. I got right up to the point of OE check. So, and I did a full mouth series, and I did all of the skill evals possible that I could do, but all the way up to the point of OE check. So that was actually making really good time, honestly. So yeah, that was my first day of clinic. Then the next day we had an oral path test. It was our second exam of oral path, and then we had lecture on genetics after that, and genetics is like really deep in and of itself. So it was a lot. That week was a lot, just like going from adjusting to having 2 really early and long days to, okay, now we have a test. And then the next day we had to go to Georgia Dental Hygienists Association at Clayton State University and watch the presentations. Our seniors gave presentations there on their like poster projects that they have to do in the fall or in the summer. In the summer or in the fall, they have to present it there every year. So we had to go and support them. So that was a pretty long week. So luckily, since that was such a long week, we did not have class that Monday. We had our clinic test, which was not that bad. I'm doing pretty well in all of the classes except for oral pathology right now, which I'm not doing bad in oral path. It's just like not as good as I would hope. But we had that, and then we had lectures on caring for dental appliances, like how to clean dentures and partials and things like that. And then that afternoon we had periodontics again. Then Wednesday we had clinic all day, and I actually saw a patient. It was a child, 12-year-old child, and I actually completed them that day. So I was operator in the morning and in the afternoon, and since I had them there all day, I did complete them. So that was my first patient that I completed. So it was good being on like the second day of clinic, completing a patient, you know. And then the next day we had a dental hygiene 1 exam and lecture on patients with diabetes that afternoon after the test. So again, it's like super long clinic day, test. Like you've got to be looking at your schedule to figure out when exactly you should be studying for these things. Like if you're not going to have time in the week, then you need to plan out your weekend so that you can make sure that you're getting your studying done before you have clinic all day and now you're like, oh, I haven't studied for this test and I'm studying all night even though I've been up since 5 a.m. You know what I mean? Moving on to week 10, we had conferences. I get really nervous for conferences. You guys know I struggle with anxiety a lot. And so I get really nervous for conferences because we're sitting down one-on-one with our teacher and talking about how we're doing. But it kind of switched a little bit. Now that we're seeing patients, we're more focused on how many patients do you have? What skill evals are you going to do on them? You know, like what is your game plan for meeting these requirements? So it kind of gives you something to actually talk about with them instead of just being like, looking at each other like, how you doing? Like, I'm doing good. Okay, have any concerns? No, like, you know what I mean? So it gives me something to actually talk to them about and not feel like you're awkwardly staring at me. And then we had a lecture on neoplasia, which is basically like that was in oral pathology, and that was on all of like the cancers. And then we had clinic all day on Wednesday, but I was just operator in the morning, and I started my patient and got all the way up to OE check again. This is a different patient. So this was my third patient at this point. So 1 I completed, and then 2 I got right up to the point of OE check. And then that afternoon I was RA, which is records assistant, and you basically just check in patients, pull charts, file charts, make charts, and that kind of stuff. Pretty boring, honestly. It's really boring. I actually like being CA because you're running around everywhere and you're getting things for people, and you're like being productive, and the time goes by faster. When you're RA, you're kind of just like trying to find things to do and like just sitting there, you know. Day after lecture, guess what? A test in perio and lecture that afternoon as well. I did okay on that. So now to week 11, which was last week for me. Right now I'm actually technically on spring break. We had our medical history exam. It's basically where you have to look at a medical history and be able to correct things that are wrong and ask the follow-up questions and clinical procedures and things like that for different conditions that are checked yes on a medical history. So we have to know that from memory. We have to know like what blood pressure is considered elevated or stage 1 or stage 2. If we need to write medical alert, all of the follow-up questions for different patients, like if they have diabetes or asthma, or if they've ever had a heart attack or arthritis or like whatever, we have to know all of the follow-up questions for that from memory. And we had to make a 90 or better on that test to stay in the program. A lot of pressure put on this test, especially after like we're like just getting adjusted, trying to figure out how to manage, you know, tests and clinic and all of these things, you know. And it's like, hey, now here's this test, you have to make a 90. Luckily I made a 94 on that test, so I am good to go with that. I don't have to retake it. I don't have to stress out about it. So happy. Then that afternoon we had a lecture on patients with cardiovascular disease. Then I had clinic all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday. So this is the first time that we had clinic back to back. So this week was crazy before spring break. It was like the medical history exam that was like pressure, pressure, pressure. 2 days of clinic, and then I had the biggest oral path test of the semester on Thursday. So it was just like, holy crap. I did not even study for oral path at all the weekend before. All I studied for was the medical history exam because I was like, I have to make a 90 on this. So I'm going to focus on this, you know. Probably stupid looking back, but I'm glad that I made a 94 and we're good to go. The next day I had my second appointment with my first patient in the morning. We got all the way through OE check and I scaled the upper right, lower right, and upper left. I did a bunch of skill evals. And then the next day I had my second appointment with my third patient in the morning, but my patient actually ended up being a class 4 and we can only see 1s and 2s right now. Luckily my friend who I saw the day before and I scaled 3/4 of the mouth, she came back for that afternoon and I finished her. So at this point I have 2 patients completed because I did complete her that, you know, that afternoon. So I have 2 patients completed. I made a 97 on the first one and a 94 on the second one. And I have 18 skill evals done. Planning on the week that I come back to finish my third patient for sure and finish my skill evals on that patient as well. But that Thursday we had that oral path test, the biggest one because it was on genetics and neoplasia. The only time that I studied for this, I'm not even gonna lie, was that morning. That was it. I woke up at like 7 a.m. and I studied from 7 a.m. to noon and I was like, this is just gonna have to do. I put myself in that position and I shouldn't have. I just wanted to pass. I was like, look, 75 is all that I need, okay? I ended up making a 76.3 on it and I am totally fine with that. So we have to maintain a 75 test grade average on all of our tests because that's like considered passing. I think they do that because of the boards. You have to make a 75 on the boards to be considered passing. So they make us get a 75 on everything pretty much. So I just wanted to at least get that so I wouldn't be stressed out about maintaining my average, because if I made way lower than that, then I would have to make way higher than that to bring my average up. Yeah, that's why I was really happy. So my average in that class, my test average, I think it's like an 84 or something like that, which isn't that great, but my next test in that class is the final. So I just need to make, I calculated and I think I need to make at least a 60 on the final, and I'm sure that will happen. So that is how everything has been going. That is the end of week 11. Now technically week 12 is spring break and then we're going back next week. I only have 4 weeks left and then finals. So crazy to me. I order my loops 2 weeks from 2 days from now, so that's crazy. Definitely expect a video on that, on what loops I decide. Obviously I'm not going to get them in, I probably won't get them in until beginning of May, till like mid-May. Definitely I will unbox them and show you, and that will be so exciting. I can't even believe I'm almost at that point. But yeah, everything's generally been going pretty good. It's just like I said a million times in this video, it's just managing like a clinic and lecture and tests and things like that. My advice to you guys. And what I've seen has really helped me is I'll like write a list of everything that I need to get done and look at all of my tests and when they are, and then I will literally write out each day what I'm gonna do. So I actually have like a desk calendar that's white erase, and it has like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I just write like little boxes and check marks. So I'm meditating every day to maintain like my mental health and stuff like that. It really helps with my anxiety. So I even put that kind of stuff on my checklist, and I'm like, okay, so I need to meditate, I need to do this assignment or work on this assignment, I need to study this day, you know, how many days do I have until this test? Okay, so these are the things I need to do these days. So I'm going to study here, and I'm going to study here, and I'm going to study here. And really writing it out like that really helps you to make sure that you're getting everything done. So I wrote a list of everything that I wanted to accomplish on my spring break, and so I had like a bunch of projects that I needed to work on for perio and my dental hygiene 1, and those are all due at the end of the semester, like the week before finals at the end. And I knew that over the next 3.5 weeks I'm not going to have time between studying and clinic and everything else, that I would not have enough time to actually get those projects done, because I was like, there's absolutely no way that this is going to get done if I don't, you know, sit down and get it done over spring break, even though that was the last thing that I wanted to do. I wrote down everything that I wanted to get accomplished, including like laundry, washing towels. Like, even though that's stuff that I do every week, I still had that in my week to do, so I needed to put that on my list of things to do, right? So I wrote everything down, and then I went through and I made sure that I got all of my schoolwork done in the first part of my spring break. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I got everything done. I got my dental hygiene project done. I still have a little bit left to go on my group project, but I have to do that with my group, so I'm not even counting that. I got my studying done, my Quizlets made, and everything like that. So now, today is Wednesday, tomorrow, Friday and Saturday and Sunday, I can really chill. Like, I still have things that I need to go and do, and errands to run and things like that. But school-wise, I got all of that done at the beginning. So now mentally, I can really mentally relax and take a break. Even though I'm going to be going and doing things still, I'm going to have a mental break from school before I go back. So I highly recommend that to you guys if you're trying to figure out how to balance everything, or if you feel like you're not getting things done or you're not managing your time well. Seriously, like, write it down, look at your schedule, put everything on there. That's really like my trick to staying successful and making sure that they get everything done. I'm really excited to be on my spring break. I'm really excited to just be here. I just can't even believe that I have 4 weeks and then finals. Like, the seniors, they're taking their boards this Saturday, and it's just like, whoa, that's gonna be me this time next year. Like, they took their senior portraits a couple of weeks ago, and it's just like, whoa, like, because think about how fast a year went by for me this last year, you know, and then it's like this time next year, that's gonna be me, you know. And it's like all the things that I've overcome, like dealing with anxiety and like my weight loss and just all of the things. It's just like, I'm so blessed to be where I am right now, and it's honestly unbelievable. And I just hope that if you guys have a passion, or you have something, whether it's school related or weight loss related or just anything in your life, keep working towards it. If you honestly keep working towards it, it's gonna work out for you. It's going to happen. And it's just like absolutely unbelievable that I'm here. I'm still in the thick of it. Sometimes it's good to just like sit back and actually like realize how far you've made it, you know? Looking back on how I felt at the beginning of the semester and at the end, like around Christmas time, I was very overwhelmed and I was very intimidated by the semester, looking at the schedule and being like, how am I going to do this? This looks so hard and so intense. Like, how am I going to get through this? I don't understand. Taking it one day at a time, trusting God, and like knowing that you're where you're supposed to be and giving it 150%, knowing that you left it all there, like you did everything that you could do. It's crazy how far you'll get whenever you do that, you know, and it's crazy how much you can accomplish that you never thought that you could. So I'm just so amazed at how far I've come, and even though I have so far to go, sometimes it's really good to like take a moment and look back whenever you're like in the calm of the storm. Like, I'm in the calm of spring break right now, looking back at everything that I've accomplished. So I know I won't feel like that this time next week, but it really is just like inspirational and motivating to just see how far I have come. So make sure that you guys are doing that too, looking at how far you've come in whatever situation you're in. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thanks for sticking here with me, even though I have have been MIA for a little while. Everything was just super intense, but I'm not abandoning you guys. I am definitely going to keep on with the updates and my loops, and so many videos are going to be on their way. So definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, give me a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.